Are you looking for the perfect way to take your brand to the next level? Want to reach a dedicated, engaged audience that's all ears? With audiohook.com, you can do just that. Audiohook is the premier podcast advertising platform, connecting advertisers with some of the best podcasts in the world. Audiohook uses advanced targeting techniques to ensure your message reaches the right ears at the right time. With detailed analytics, you'll be able to track your campaign's performance and optimize your strategy for maximum impact. Plus, their team of experts are there every step of the way, providing guidance and support to make your campaign a success. So, whether you're a startup, a small business owner, or a marketing pro, Audiohook is your one-stop shop for podcast advertising success. Head over to audiohook.com to start your journey today.
Every year, thousands of human remains are found in the United States, and in 1 of every 4 instances, authorities can't identify the body. That's starting to change. I'm Dave Killen, co-host of The Unidentifieds, a new limited series podcast from the Oregonian and OregonLive. We go deep into several cold cases and explain the science that's helping experts give these long-forgotten people their names back. Look for The Unidentifieds after you've finished listening to this podcast. Subscribe to The Unidentifieds on Apple, Spotify, Google, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
The Portland Trail Blazers did not get the number 1 pick in the NBA draft lottery, but they got the number 3 pick, which could be a gem for them. Hello, welcome to the Blazer Focus podcast. I am Aaron Fentress. I cover the Blazers for the Oregonian and OregonLive, and I'm joined here for a draft lottery special edition of the Blazer Focus podcast with Craig Birnbach, who is sitting in his room at home. I see a mess behind him. Someone needs to clean up something back there. I don't know, but my room's even messier than his, so I can't really talk. But anyway, what a night. The lottery is always a little bit drama-filled, especially when you have a team in it. It was a very interesting lottery just from the fact that they moved up from 5 into the top 4, and you wonder what they might get. Brandon Roy was sitting there all stoic. 4 went by, it wasn't them. Then 3 came, and it was them. But still, a great spot to be in. Craig, what say you? You didn't have lottery fever, so I imagine you didn't have it tonight. You just kind of probably watched it in the background while playing with your kid or something, whereas I was right in front of the TV like, come on, come on, come on. Anyway, how do you feel now that that's over?
So they broke it with the way they break it up. Like once you get in the top 4, they go to that break, that long break, and tell you about that. They do that ad about how you could get like a mountain bike for 87 cents. And I'm always like, is that real? And then that's when I got lottery fever right then when they were trying to tell me I could get a blender for 20 cents. I'm like, come back. They got a chance. Because now I know they moved up. So I'm like, okay, is this real? And when they go 4 and it's not them, I'm like, oh my goodness, top 3, that's awesome. But the difference between 3, 2, and 1 is huge. It's huge. Like it's a huge body of water. And to go 3, I went, well, that's going to make things very interesting and not maybe in the best way because, I've said all along, 1 is obviously to me a no-brainer. You thought you might trade it. I said, I hear what you're saying. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just think there's no way they would. But 2 and 4 and 5, 5, you're like, of course you're trading it. Do whatever you got to do. But like 2 and 3, you're looking at 2 players and Scooter and Scooter Miller that people are saying could be number 1 in other years. So now what do you do? Like, oh no, you got Dame. Like, what is Dame doing right now, Aaron? Like, that's what I wanted. I wanted a Dame cam. Like, because where was his face? Like, was he like, okay, or he's like, no? Because to me, that's what it all comes down to. Is he gonna say, I'm cool with you picking that, or do you gotta move it?
Well, first of all, before we get to that, let me just say how much I hate the San Antonio Spurs again. How are you going to win? How in your lifetime are you going to win if you're Popovich? He was a GM when they got Robinson, right? How are you going to win David Robinson, Tim Duncan, and now Wembenyama? How are you – like, that's just not fair to the rest of the world. That's unfair. And then other people win people like Odin. No offense to Greg, but you win people like Odin or Bennett, the guy that Cleveland took, was probably the worst number one pick ever. Because in some years the number one pick,
definitely the worst. Definitely no,
not maybe.
Okay. Definitely.
In some years,
no, he played like 12 games. He's still playing. I looked him up. I looked him up. He's playing in Taiwan. He's playing in Taiwan. He's 30. He's still playing. So more power to him. But that was an awful.
Because he can't even blame injury. He just was bad, which is just remarkable to me that a guy taking them, like, at the very least you should be serviceable, but maybe injuries held you back. That guy's not even, like, he's like you said, he's in Taiwan. Anyway, so that's the first thing. Spurs just, oh God, really? I mean, Popovich's plan worked. He's an evil genius. He tanked for a couple of years, and he went out there and just got his butt kicked and just weathered the storm, and now boom, he's got himself a potential Tim Duncan. Although I will not say that I was just almost dry heaving every time someone on ESPN said this could be the greatest prospect in the history of the NBA. I'm not going to sit here and say this guy's going to end up being better than Duncan, Shaq, or LeBron. We'll see. Who knows? We'll see. Long way to go with this kid, but that was driving me nuts. But anyway, okay, back to Portland, what we care about here. Man, flat out. Number one was a pipe dream, right? You hope to get number one. They had a 44% chance, I think, to get into the top four. So that was pretty strong. To get number one was about 10%, 10.5. So that was kind of a pipe dream. The fact that they were able to move into the top three in what's considered a 3-player draft is absolutely huge. Last year, they had trouble moving number 7 for what they wanted. And they were wise to not give it up for something they didn't feel was worth it, because they did love themselves some Shaedon Sharpe. And that turned out to be genius, because Shaedon Sharpe is worth far more than the number 7 pick right now. But now you're in the top 3. There are going to be a lot of teams out there who covet that pick. A lot of people out there who believe that Scoot is the next Ja Morant minus the Instagram nonsense, that believe that Miller is the next Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, that kind of guy. And so if there are people out there who believe that is the case, they're going to be willing to give up guys who are really good but maybe expensive and not helping them win right now. I think this is huge for the Blazers. This is huge for Dame. I think they're going to flip this pick into a legitimate star and pull off the greatest, most impactful trade in the history of the franchise this summer. That's my fact of Fentress right now. We'll just go straight to it. Fact of Fentress, they will use this pick to pull off the greatest trade in the history of the franchise.
Wow. Like,
they haven't had the pick for an hour, and I'm already just making outlandish statements.
I'm like, I'd have to. Is Scottie Pippen?
He might be, but he was 34-year-old Pippen. He wasn't prime Pippen.
I know. I'm just trying to think of great trades. It's not like, they don't have the.
They don't have a history of great trades. That's been the problem. They haven't been able to go out and get a guy. I'm saying, I know, but he was 34. I think they're going to be able to go out and get an all-star in their prime, I believe. Hello?
Well, I will say that I think you can move the 3rd overall pick, especially in this draft. And if that's why I wanted Dame's face. So that's why, because I want to know, like, he gets it. This is a 3-person draft, like 3 potential number ones. If, in the sense that, if Webb wasn't there, like these 2 guys, people are saying they could be number 1. I'm a little surprised. I thought it was all Scooter all the time. And now Miller's kind of moved up there where who knows who's going to be 2 or 3. We're pretty sure who's going to be 1 through 3, which makes this a really solid, trade piece, because they know the guys aren't going to be, though 2 and 3 aren't going to be available at 4. You know what I mean? Like at 7, people are like, well, maybe my guy will be there. You know what I mean? So they weren't willing to do it. Here they'll be able to trade it. And I think they have to. If they're being honest about trying to get Dame a title in his window. You can't say that and then keep 2 and 3.
No.
Keep 3. You can't. You know what I mean? Like, you just can't.
You got it.
You got to trade it.
You got it.
And if you don't, then you got to look. You might be looking at trading Dame. Because because you've made a decision, not a bad decision, that you put this pick, with Sharpe, you put this pick with Simons, you put this pick with some of the young things that you got coming up, because don't forget you got the Knicks pick.
Yep.
You got the Knicks pick. Then you're gonna looking about a very solid start to a very drastic but accelerated rebuild, because these are top picks. You know, you're not. But no, I don't think a lot of people want to hear that. Or Dame says, or Dame makes the decision for you, which takes the pressure off you as a franchise.
We're going to see a lot of discussion about this. We're going to have a lot of discussion about it. We're having one right now. At the end of the day, it comes down to one simple fact. Does whatever trade you make make you a legitimate contender? Not if everything goes right, they could be in the top 4. No, where the trade is done and the entire NBA world goes, oh yeah, the Blazers are top 2 in the West, which is not difficult to do, I don't believe, because you look at the West right now. I mean, Denver's legit. I think they're going to smoke LA. I don't even know why people think that's going to be a series. I don't even know what the score is right now. They're just too athletic. They're young. They're not aging like Golden State. But anyway, like I just said about aging, LeBron's getting old. Durant's getting old. CP3 obviously falling off. Clippers can't stay healthy. Curry's getting up there. So is Clay and Draymond. Like, those teams are falling off. So if you go out there and you bring in 2 dudes with Grant and whatever else is left, you're going to have a shot.
You forgot Matt.
And John Morant's a clown who might miss half of next season, right? And they got smoked anyway. Like, it's just the West is going to be wide open if you go out and you're able to get some guys. So if the trade, regardless of who it is, makes you a contender, you make that trade in a nanosecond. If the trade just makes you better, then you don't make that trade, because Dame wants to contend. Dame's going to look at the roster and go, yeah, we're better, but we're going to go, 46 and 36. That's not going to thrill him. So then Dame might say, yeah, let's not do that deal. Maybe it's just trying to move me. And then if you're the Blazers, you're like, okay. And then you have to ask yourself, okay, if Scoot's the pick, I got Simons. Am I redundant? Yeah, probably, but I don't care, because you're going to be in the lottery again in 24. You just try and accumulate talent. Maybe down the line you trade Scoot or you trade Ant, just like Sacramento did with Halliburton and Fox. You just start accumulating assets and start moving forward with a young nucleus. Move Dame along, you're going to get picks and probably a young player for Dame. But if someone out there is offering you dudes that are going to make you a contender, then you make the trade, because you're trying to win a championship. If you have 3 years to win a championship with Dame, that at least I have a legit shot. I'd take that over wondering if Ant, Scoot, and Shaden are going to turn into a championship nucleus in 4 years. One could get injured. One could demand a trade. One could be John Morant, be a knucklehead, right? So you're rolling the dice. Right. We all know that. Look at the Pelicans with Zion. They thought they'd be contending for titles right now, and that guy can't stay healthy. Ja is acting a fool. Chet Holmgren just got injured. Like, it's just you're rolling the dice. So I would move that pick in a nanosecond if I'm going to have a chance to contend. Period.
I agree. And when we talk about that, the hard part for me is, can you get there? Because I don't think you're not one player away. You're 2 players away.
You're one superstar away, or 2 really good players away. Right.
Right. And you'd have to. It's just so hard to get a superstar, but and fit it under your cap. You know what I mean? Like, because you can't do this you can't just sign James Harden if he opts out.
Right.
Not that you would, but I'm just saying, like, you can't. You need to do a sign and trade for that. So is Siakam that superstar? Like, I don't know. You get Siakam and Jimmy Butler.
Hello.
Like, okay, let's go.
That's what I'm talking about.
But I don't. But that's really hard.
It depends. It depends on the team. It depends on the team.
Hard.
If the Miami Heat say,
right, but
if the Miami Heat say, okay, we had our shot. Jimmy Butler's getting up there, right? We're not going to win a championship with this group. Portland, we'll give you Jimmy Butler for Ant and the Knicks pick and something else. Or we'll give you Jimmy Butler for that 3rd pick and some stuff. Now you got Jimmy Butler. But if you can somehow get Jimmy Butler for other pieces and then turn the pick into another dude, right? Now you got something going. And so that's the question. Can you pull off 2 deals that put you over the top? And it just depends on who's willing to give up what. I mean, because the Blazers have the assets. You have 2 really good young players and you have the number 3 pick, man. Like, you have the assets to go out there.
Yeah, and here's the thing: we're talking about the Heat, and you're saying we're not. They might win the title,
right? No, they might.
Like, we should slow our roll, right? Like, I'm just saying, like, they might be there.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, some of this didn't line up perfectly for the Blazers, because the Heat, who was a possibility, they had been, and we know that Simons would fit really well on that team. They're still alive, and Boston is still alive. So the wheels coming off Boston and maybe moving Jaylen Brown's not looking as good, even though you just still never know.
When you lose and you decide you're old, but when you lose and you decide your key player is getting up there, that's when you start thinking about, is it time to cut bait? That's, again, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying that I would put them on my list. So speaking of which, let's talk about that.
I think.
Who do you think? Like, okay, how about I just throw some names at you, and okay. Jaylen Brown is allegedly unhappy. I'm not sure why. Let's say he's available. Third pick and Ant, done.
Yes.
Right? Done. Yes. Now, would Boston do that?
Done.
Boston might be able to do better unless they might love Scoot. They might go, oh my God, we have to have that kid. Yes, done. Jalen wants out anyway, done. So obviously you would do something like that. Philly, does Philly have anyone? Embiid, you would do that in a heartbeat. They're not going to trade Embiid. If James Harden leaves, which is a report out there that he's seriously considering going back to Houston, that tells you all you need to know about James Harden, right? The guy disappears in must-win playoff games, and he wants to go back to a loser franchise. James Harden's not about winning titles. He's about winning a title if everyone around him will get him there. So you're not going to do that. And plus, they're going to go. They would just go out and get Kyrie and just try Kyrie with Embiid. All right. Cleveland, nobody. Now, if the Knicks were going to give up Julius Randle and Barrett, I'd consider that maybe for the third pick. Can Dame lead that crew to a championship? I don't know. Dame, Barrett, Grant, Randle.
But the Knicks
wouldn't do it. Okay.
The Knicks wouldn't do that. Not for that.
Fair enough. There's an interesting one. The Nets and Bridges. See, this is the kind of thing where, right? Hard. This is the kind of thing where you say, okay, the Nets might say, you know what? You give us Ant and the number 3 pick for Bridges?
They'd do that.
I don't know.
Why wouldn't they?
Unless they just think Bridges is, but.
I'd say that Ant and Bridges are close to a one-on-one trade. You throw in the top 3 pick, the third pick. I'm not even. I don't know if
many people agree with that, but
that's the problem is.
Yeah.
No, but I'm just saying. Yes, I'm just saying. But the potential that you think that Simons could, you're doing that for potential, and Bridges is a borderline all-star.
Right.
He's right there. He's right there. Simons right now is not right there, but he's signed to a contract that's very team friendly if he's even where he is now. And he's young enough to take that next level on a team where he's the primary scorer, I think he could be an all-star. And now you've just given up another all-star for him. So I wouldn't, if I'm the Blazers, that doesn't do it for me. For just the pick. Yeah. But no way.
Oh, you wouldn't do Ant and the pick for Bridges?
Simons.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, because I look at it and say, yes, I have to do that. So 2 things. The only reason why you're doing that is the pressure of Dame, the Dame window. You would not make that trade if you didn't have a 2-year window. Because why?
Because Bridges.
You have a potential number 1 pick that you have the number 3 overall pick, which it's no guarantee, but you've got 3 guys. You have 2 guys that you take either one of them, and they have the potential to be a multi-year all-star. You've got Simons, who's going to score, as you said, 25 points a night if he's your lead guard. And you're going to trade it for Miles Bridges, who's nice.
Bridges has been more than nice with the Nets. He kept that franchise afloat and into the playoffs. Yeah. He demonstrated that when given a bigger piece of the pie and not a role guy, he can ball. He's a better fit for the Blazers than Ant.
I agree. He's a borderline all-star.
We agree.
But you're trading 2.
But let's put it this way. At least by saying that for the Blazers you wouldn't do that, we're at least saying the assets are there to maybe acquire him. So we agree on that. That would be there. Okay. Yes. Hawks, John Collins, no. Absolutely. Although I would probably consider Ant for John Collins, but Atlanta wouldn't want Ant there. Got Trey and Jonathan Murray. They're not going to.
Man, the Hawks should have traded John Collins.
Dude, John Collins. I don't believe John Collins is bad. I think he's in a bad situation.
He's not. I agree, but you keep on, the longer he stays there in mediocrity and doesn't rise up, the less he's worth. 2 years ago, we would have traded you could have gotten more for him than you probably can today. And that's not what you want
No.
with your assets when you're still not very good.
If Heat were to say, okay, they lose to Boston, which I think they're going to. They were the 8th seed. They got hot in the playoffs. They're getting up there in age. Bam, nanosecond. Right? Bam and Ant for the third. Sorry. Ant in the third pick for Bam.
It's so hard, but I mean, you got to.
Nanosecond.
Same thing with Bridges. If I'm the Blazers, I probably have to do it.
I would do that. See, the pick to me is nice, but I don't care what scouts say. Not that they don't know what they're talking about, but the history of the NBA has proven that it's really, really difficult to be right on these things. Yes. Otherwise, Giannis doesn't go 15th. Markelle Fultz doesn't go number 1. Like, we can play that game in every lottery, right? Okay, so we know that there's a crapshoot. So I'm not concerned saying that Scoot is going to be XYZ. I don't know that. Miller, I mean, yeah, he might be Jason Tatum, or he might be just another good small forward that's replaceable. Okay, my Bulls.
He could be Cam Reddish.
Bulls, I mean, Levine. You're a Levine guy. You would maybe consider Levine. I don't know if I would. I just think the defensive deficiencies.
They have the assets. I don't. To me, that's not a smart. I don't know why. I don't think Chicago's trading him for. So anyway, I don't think that's a real option. It's tough for me because Levine he's really good at what he does. He's not necessarily what the Blazers really want. He's not a two-way player. Right. He's injury prone, and scoring points is not the primary problem with Portland. You need stars. So I'd rather do. I probably think that the Bam trade's better.
No, 100%. And Levine's the type of guy too who's not going to defer to anyone. He's coming to the court jacking up what he wants to jack up. So that'd be a bad fit, right?
Well, that's what he does.
So Toronto, Siakam, nanosecond. Yeah, right. OG, no.
Yeah, well, if you're going to do Bam and you're not going to do Siakam, get off my podcast.
OG, no. OG, no. Right? I would not give it the third pick for OG. We agree on that. Okay. Yeah. Porzingis, Wizards? No. Orlando, I mean, I consider the Wagner kid, maybe. Hornets, no. Pistons, no. Okay, Western Conference. Nuggets aren't going to do anything. Jaren Jackson, you would do. He's not going to be available. Kings don't have anyone available. Suns, no. Aiden, I'm doing Ant for Aiden. I'm not doing number 3 for Aiden. I'd maybe do Ant in the next pick for Aiden. I'm not doing number 1 overall, the number 3 overall pick for Aiden. Now let's get to the Clippers. Would you consider, if the Clippers said, okay, we're done with these two, this duo, it's not working, one of them's always hurt or both, would you consider Paul George?
I love Paul. I mean, like, if Paul George is healthy, he's right there with that window, right? So you're saying Simon's in the 3 for Paul George.
Something like that. I mean, that would probably be what it might take, because you got to add something else to match salaries.
I'd do a serious physical. He'd have to have a real,
dude, he's 33.
Physical.
See, this is the scary thing. Like, he's 33.
Yep.
George is. He just played 56 games. Before that, he played 31, 54, 48. He can't stay healthy. So I'm a no. I'm a Paul George. If you were healthy and reliable, done. But now, no, I'm not giving up the third pick. I'm not giving up the chance to draft, like you said, a guy who's a number 1 caliber player, but just behind Wemby for a 33-year-old guy who can't stay healthy. Like, now I give them the next pick. I might do Ant and the next pick or something like that. Sure. See if I can do it. Just you roll the dice.
Oh yeah.
But he's just too scary at this point for me.
I would do Ant and the Knicks pick in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even think about it.
Now, I mean, Warriors, if they wanted to get rid of Clay, or Draymond's a free agent, but no, I don't think I'd do number 3 pick for Draymond. Would you do that? Some kind of sign and trade and three and stuff?
For Draymond?
Too old. And I just wouldn't do number 3 for him. It has to be a bigger star than that. Clay, obviously, no. Timberwolves cat. Now, there's something interesting. Karl Anthony Towns. So, I would do that in a heartbeat. And number 3 for Karl Anthony Towns. Doesn't play really good defense, but obviously he's really good offensively. He and Dame would be a pretty dynamic duo with Grant, especially. Yeah,
if Cat came out now, you might pick him over. And you knew what you had, he'd go 2 overall with, in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and he'd
go 2.
I don't.
So I would give up Simons to move
Simons
up,
and the
you
pick,
know?
though.
Simons, what you're saying,
Simons,
right?
Simons and the number 3 pick. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I would do.
Injuries have been a problem too, though.
Simons doesn't fit your roster.
Injuries have been a problem too. 29 games this year. The year before 74. Then before that 50, 35. But still, again, you're trying to get stars in there to help Dame.
I only need him to just be healthy during the playoffs. That's all I need you for. We'll make the playoffs and be healthy in the playoffs. That's it.
Pelicans. Brandon Ingram done. They're probably not going to do that, but Zion. Zion scares me. I keep wondering when they're going to move off of Zion and if it's going to be New York, but we'll see. Thunder. I don't think they're giving up anyone who you'd want. They're not going to give up Shea, obviously. Mavericks, no one.
Nope.
Now, here's one. Okay, so go Rockets, nobody. Spurs, nobody. Here's one for you. Lowry Markkanen. Would you give up the number 3 pick? And you don't have to really match. Like, it could be the number 3 pick and Little, Watford, and someone else to match his cheap salary for Lowry Markkanen.
I mean, I would not do that as a GM that had a long rope. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to win a championship, and I got a new owner, and I got 5 years. Garrett, like, I know I'm good unless I really F this up. I wouldn't do it. But with the window, I mean, that's what I mean. But the problem is everybody in the league knows this, and that's where the Blazers are a little bit in trouble because they're going to know that.
Okay.
Markkanen was great this year, but it's not a long resume of great. And I think that you're not going to win the title with him.
Okay, so.
But I wouldn't be mad if you did. I wouldn't be mad if I can't say it's ridiculous. I say it's hard. I wouldn't do it because I think I'd be better off hoping that the alternative, which is flipping it and getting all young and going for it, I have a better chance of one of those guys ending up being better than him.
So Lowry's about to be 26. He hasn't entered his prime yet. He's finally figured it out. He's bigger, stronger. Dude, he put up 25.6 and 8.6 while shooting 50 and 39. And he's 87. He slashes 50, 39, 88. If you've watched him as a scouting staff and you believe he has arrived, he is it. Like, he's a legitimate guy who's going to continue to put up these types of numbers, to continue to be a difficult guy to defend because he's 7 feet tall. I would trade the number 3 pick in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even blink because, again, how you can't guarantee that those other 2 guys are going to ever become as good as he is right now. And you throw him out there with Dame, and you're not giving up Ant and Sharp, which means I still could go out with Ant and Sharp and get someone else.
Okay. So you're saying just the
pick?
Yeah,
not picking Ant because what I'm wondering is if Utah, which is still in rebuild mode, they exceeded expectations last year. If they are in love for whatever reason with Scoot or Henderson, or Scoot or Miller,
they're not going to make that.
Why wouldn't they might say to themselves, well, Lowry's got a good friendly deal now, but eventually he's going to want to get paid. Are we going to win with him? We need more pieces, or do I want to continue to start over with younger talent? And I can get the number 3 pick in the draft. So I'm not even saying they would do it for sure. I'm just saying that if they would, in a heartbeat, I'll give the number 3 pick for Lowry Markkanen.
But
the pick and salary match. Like I said, his salary, I think he's only making 16 or 17. You could give him Little, Watford, and something else, match the salary, and the number 3 pick in the draft. And for them, he was a throw-in in the Donovan Mitchell thing. And then he blew up. And they can flip him to number 3. And again, it comes down to these things always come down to how much someone loves someone. If they look at Scoot and see the next Morant minus the foolishness, or they look at Miller and go, that's Jason Tatum, which if Danny Ainge looks at Miller and sees Jason Tatum, the guy who the guy who traded back, remember? He had the number 1 pick and traded back and took Tatum. He might go, oh my God, we think Brandon Miller is the shiznit. Lowry, bye. Then if I'm the Blazers and I can pull that off, done. Fair? Because
Yeah.
if you
No,
did that
I
and then
think
turned around and went out with Ant and the Knicks pick and went out and whatever else and went out and able to get something like, woo, now you got a squad, dude. Because I think Dame and Lowry would be amazing together. Just amazing. Okay, so we ran through. Anyone else you thinking about? We ran through the league pretty well there.
No, that's the part that I love is bringing you back to yourself, which is where you say the guys that end up getting traded are the ones you didn't know the day you're taught. Like you don't know until right before often. It's a very rare thing when the Jeremy Grant thing happens, right? Like when everyone knows forever that's going to. So that's the part that what we don't know and what maybe can develop. Because what we just did is an exercise where two semi-intelligent guys that know the league kind of looked and tried to find stuff, and it wasn't easy. We didn't find anything that definitely benefits both sides where you could say, oh yeah, no brainer. We found a lot of things that could fit if. So I'm interested to find out. And that's my point. My point is when I look at, you always need a partner. You need a dance partner. And I don't know where the Blazers find that in time in this short period, because it's not a long time to be able to make this deal because it's summer. That you said it, that your sources say this is a big summer for Dame. And
here's the thing too.
So the window's not long.
Here's the thing to remember too. I was just talking to my older son Isaiah, and we were talking about OG, and he was like, "Do you think Toronto would do OG?" They were trying to get the world from him. I go, "Yeah, they were trying to allegedly get 3 first-round picks from Memphis, but they knew those were going to be picks in the late 20s." Right? There's a huge difference between getting multiple picks that you think might be in the late 20s and the third pick. That third pick is worth 10 late first-round picks. So that's why I just feel like teams out there looking to move guys. Like, if Kevin Durant selected, obviously, but if Kevin Durant were available right now to someone like the Nets trying to rebuild and move him, that third pick is worth more than all the picks they got. It depends on how much they love the top 2 guys available at that pick, but they might have viewed that more valuable than Bridges and those picks. We don't know. But there's going to be so many teams out there trying to shed a guy, start over, move. They may love that who are just going to put guys out there available to the Blazers. I think this pick is going to allow them, like I said, to pull off what will be the greatest trade in franchise history.
I hope you're right. Because that makes a lot of fun. Rebuilds are fun for young people.
We're too old. We have a window too. Window too, don't we? We're getting tired of this stuff. You've been in this market for how long? How long you been here in this market now? How long?
18
I pretty much have been here permanently since early high school. Although I did a lot of back and forth traveling, multiple parents.
I could do math. 16 years.
And I'm a Bulls fan, but the Blazers. I mean, I have season tickets. I would love to see the Blazers win a championship. I would love to cover the Blazers while they win a championship. So yeah, we got a window too. Now, along those lines, let's shift. Let's say there's just not a deal out there, man. It's just not there. The best they can do is OG straight up. They tell Dame, we've been calling around the league. You know who we've been talking to. This is the best we can do. Do you think we can win with this, Dame? And Dame's like, nah, man, we could probably win 48 games, make the playoffs, but I don't see how I can contend with that. Okay, it's not going to work. Where do you want us to send you? Send me here. He goes there, you get a bunch of picks, maybe get a young player. Dame goes somewhere we can contend with the possibility that he could come back in a few years as that wily old veteran to help put the young team over the top, right? So then you keep the pick. You keep the pick. Ideally, you'd get Miller because you got Ant, right, and Sharp, and you got Miller. So you have a 1, a 2, and a 3. Grant's gone. Okay, use the Knicks pick. Maybe you draft the power forward, or maybe you start Watford there. It doesn't matter because you're going to stink and go back on the lottery again. How would you feel about that moving forward to start your rebuild?
So again, if I'm a new owner that I just bought this team and I'm a GM that got hired by that new owner, I'm feeling good. If I'm Joe Cronin and whoever owns the Blazers, like Jody Allen, no, that's not awesome. That is not that's not fantastic. So I think that's why the ownership. Now maybe it makes it easier to once you move Dame. If you move Dame, it might make it better to sell the team. But I don't know. If I'm Joe Cronin, I want to show success to keep my job as a GM, and I don't think that would help you with confirm your job when there's a new owner. That whole ownership thing, I bring it up because it throws a huge wrench into everything, right? If I'm Ant, you know what I'm saying, or I'm feeling okay about that because now I think that they're going to build. I'll be a big piece. If I'm Jeremy Grant, though, I'm gone. I'm out. So they're really going to stink.
But
and
they're
stuck for
gonna
2
be,
years.
But they're going to be exciting. Like
eventually.
I think Ant, Sharp, and Miller out the gate are going to be fun to watch. No?
I mean,
they're going to be it's going to be a dunk-a-thon.
There's going to be a lot of alley-oops
down 20
on both sides because they're going to give them up and they're going to get them, right? So sure, if you're a young gun and you just want to see that, yeah, you're going to lose a lot of games. You're going to do what OKC did until they just started winning all the games. Like you're going to give up 130 points and score 125. Again, that's not as a fan that's at my age. I don't care to watch that again for a long period of time. But you talk about windows. I'm a Knicks fan, man. My window's 50 years, and I got a 50-year window. It's close. I'm gonna die soon, at some point, and not see the win. And Blazer fans are there too. You're coming up on 50 years, so most people that are Blazer fans haven't seen a title, and they want to see their, the greatest Blazer of all time, debatable, whatever, have a chance. So I am rooting for Aaron Fentress's Factor Fentress to be fact. I am rooting for them to make a monumental trade that I go, holy crap. They did it, Fentress. They pulled it off. And now they just have to make one more, and Grant's staying, and they got a 2-year window to add parts, because you can add, if you're really good and you bring in, if you have 3 really good starters and Grant being the worst of the 3, there's a 4th guy that wants to join that party, and win a title. And then you add a little this or a little of that, a Jimmy Butler late, like I want out now because we're out of the playoffs, and then you win a title. I mean, I'm rooting for that. I just am skeptical that the partners are there. But you're right. They can't. There's no excuses. Like we didn't have enough, which is what O'Shea kept. There was nothing to do. There was no dramatic big trade to make. Well, there is now. You have the 3rd overall pick, and you've already said we want to fit Dame's window, and Dame's window is no longer, 8 years or 5 years. It's 3, and you're hopeful it's 3, and you're extremely optimistic it's 4. It's a miracle if it's 5.
And I just, again, it depends on how much people covet that pick. But if people view Brandon Miller as Tatum, Jaylen Brown, or Brandon Ingram, that caliber player, people are going to line up trying to get that kid, and they'll give up contracts that they no longer want for players that, they're good, but we're not winning with them. And fine, go to Portland. Whereas they come to Portland and they complete the puzzle. So we're going to see. It's going to be interesting. Obviously, you'd want number 1, but getting number 3, being in that top 3 in a 3-player draft, that's huge, man. That's huge for Dame. That's huge for this franchise. I do believe it's going to pay off. I'm going out on a limb. I'm calling it. Calling my shot. I'm Babe Ruth pointing. Allegedly pointing. All right. Anything else? We rocked that pretty good.
No, I'm just a little depressed that there isn't a party in the streets of Portland right now.
God, people are going bonkers.
You would have gone bonkers. You'd be going nuts right now. Don't be trying to act like you would be. I know you. You would be like,
I would be.
I'm covered.
I would be. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. What's funny is a couple of days ago I was talking to Joel Odom, our sports editor, and I was like, man, we're writing all this Wemby stuff, but they're probably not going to get the pick, and but if they do, and I go, man, so I go to France, right? And he goes, no. He's like, no. Like, why not? Like, what are you talking about? Why? It's not. I mean, it's not cheap, but it's not that expensive. Why would I not go to France and cover a few of his games and report on it? Like, and he goes, you know what? We could probably make a case. I go, you damn straight. I'm like, we spent $3,000 to send me on a 6-game road trip. You can't spend $3,000 to send me to France, or even if it's 4. So, but then I was thinking, if I go to France for 10 days without my wife, do I come back seeking a different address? Could you see right now? Let's say right now you told your wife, I gotta go to France for 10 days because the Evergreen School District is gonna adopt some curriculum from Paris and I gotta go check it out. And she's like, well, I can't go. I know. Sorry, see you in 10 days.
Yeah.
How would that go over in the Birnbach household?
I can't wait to FaceTime you. Can't wait to FaceTime you and the boy. I'll send you a croissant.
How would that go over? Anyway.
Yeah.
But no France for me. No France
That's
for
awesome.
me. All right. Thanks for listening to the Blazer Focus podcast. We appreciate it. We will be talking a lot about this pick and them trying to trade this pick and who they might take in this pick all the way leading up to the draft in June. Please click the subscription button and give us a positive feedback rating. We'd appreciate that. And we will catch you soon.